Hi, welcome to today's devotional podcast with Dr. Jacob Al. We are continuing our series on Naked and Not Ashamed. We're still looking at the female reproductive system, and today we are zeroing in on what is called the hymen of the female reproductive system. This is the episode 22. And once again, our text is taken from Psalm 139, 13 to 14. For you formed me, you formed my innermost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are your works, and I know this very well. Psalm 139, 13 to 14. So the hymen is a shelf like memory surrounded uh, but does not cover the lower opening of the vagina, uh, and it's called the hymen, which has the name of the mythical god of marriage. So hymens do not reproduce after they have been dilated and do not regrow after they have been dilated. There is a resilient and robust part of the hymen in some females. That needs to be taken note of. So the hymen is the covering, the very outer covering of the vagina, and for women who are virgin, young girls who are virgin, um, this is very crucial. The lesson today is very crucial for them. uh, if you are the lucky man or boy who is taking a virgin to the altars, you are one of the most fortunate men to have to do that. But because of that, you have to prize your bride and be grateful that she's preserved herself for you uh, till this honeymoon night. And that is why, because of the sacrifice she's made, or you also might have made, because I still believe there are young Christian boys and girls who have not defiled themselves by having premarital sex, and so they are still virgins. And I have had the opportunity of doing the marriage counseling for such people. Now, for you, the boy, the responsibility very much lies on you to be very careful and gentle with your virgin bride. You must respect and honor her and make her first ever sexual intercourse a period or a day to remember. You are the first, remember that. And you can ruin her sex life for the rest of her life, or you can make her sex life very fabulous for the rest of her life. You have been privileged to have the delicate responsibility of being the first to penetrate her vagina. And that is something you should uh, not take lightly. And for that matter, do all your homework to make sure that she has a very, very memorable experience this very first time. So I often tell the young men that I'm counseling, look, you need to be extra careful with her. You are going to be the first to have to penetrate her. And because of that, you have the responsibility to make sure you are extra gentle and extra careful in the way you penetrate her. And in a moment, we'll get to see why. Uh, the hymen, the hymen do not reproduce after they have been dilated, and they do not regrow after they have been dilated. There is a resilient and robust part of the hymen, a hymen, in some females. Hymen do not necessarily indicate virginity lost. So the absence of the hymen does not necessarily indicate virginity lost in baby girls born without them, because there are some baby girls who are born with it. So this is the thing. Uh, if your fiancée tells you that she's a virgin and she hasn't, nobody has penetrated her yet, and you are excited about that and waiting for the day after your marriage, the honeymoon, so you will be the first to penetrate her, and for some reason you don't find a hymen, or you don't find any resistance when you are penetrating her the first time, uh, don't in any way conclude that she's a liar. She's had several affairs before and she lied to you that she was a virgin and that type of thing. You want to be careful, because it's not every virgin that has the hymen. Some baby girls are born without the hymen, and that is natural. So she could be a virgin. It's just that she was born without a hymen. So your first intercourse with her, there was no struggle. You were able, after just a little stimulation, you were able to penetrate her very easily. And this could cause confusion, because you will be expecting that because you are the first to penetrate her, you should experience some amount of difficulty in penetrating, and or maybe as there's this myth that there must be some blood coming out to confirm that she's actually a virgin. But that could not be further from the truth. There are some girls who are born without a hymen, and so you may not encounter difficulty in penetrating her for the very first time. Do not construe that to mean she's a liar, she's wicked, she wasn't a virgin and she's disturbed you. It's possible that she's a virgin, but she just didn't have a hymen. And it's natural and it's possible. So, this is good information for you if you do experience something like that. So, virgins have a 1 inch uh, diameter opening uh, in their hymen, large enough to use tempers. So the question will be, look, if there is this hymen covering the frontal part of the vagina of every female uh, who which has to be dilated uh, for sexual intercourse to happen, then what happens if the woman wants to keep her virginity and yet she has to take care of her periods when she's bleeding? That should not prevent you from inserting some parts, temples part into your vagina, because even with the hymen covering the frontal area of the vagina, there is a 1 inch room uh, that allows you to be able to insert your temples to during times of bleeding. So, however, it is recommended to have a 1.5 inch diameter for comfortable sexual intercourse. As a result, 50% of brides report a little bit of pain at the time of their first intercourse, and 20% do not report any pain. 30% again uh, say relatively they had very severe pains. So, among these 30% of women who confirmed they had severe pain during sexual intercourse, you can imagine how their attitude towards sex will be thereafter. If you had a very rough time uh, in the area of your uh, the penetration, and this is because of what uh, the space that is between the lower part, the upper part of the vagina and the hymen. It's only 1 inch, but to be able to have be able to have what is called a successful penetration, thereby having a comfortable sexual intercourse, uh, the man will need a circumference of at least 1.5 inch to easily be able to penetrate. And so uh, the studies that has been done on this says that 50% of brides report a little bit of pain at the time of their first intercourse. 50%, there's a little bit of pain. So it is possible that the 1 inch space was enough for the size of the penis of the bridegroom to be able to push it through without prior preparation or any exercise for him to be able to penetrate her. And so, as a result, they had this 50% of women would have been women or virgins who never did any stretching of the hymen before this sexual intercourse. So the man had uh, a 1 inch room to play with. And if he was extra careful and had a lot of foreplay before the intercourse, the place would have been lubricated enough for him to be able to work with the 1 inch, and as he penetrates, uh, the vagina then will increase in size to be able to receive a full thrust of the penis into her vagina. Now, because they haven't done any exercise to stretch the semen, they may experience some type of little pain. And that is why 50% of women say so the first time they did experience that. Now, 20% do not report any pain at all. So these 20% who uh, doesn't report any pain at all, either they may be part of the virgins, the virgins who had privy to such information as to being told that look, you need to prepare yourself before the first intercourse, and you can stretch the hymen so that you will not have a problem having intercourse. And if they did their exercise 3 days or a week before the wedding on their own, they were able to stretch the hymen, then the man will not have any problem penetrating her, and she, in return, will not feel any pain. Now, again, as I mentioned, there could be virgins who had no clue about stretching the hymen, but their partners did a great job in the act of foreplay. they took time and they were probably very gentle with them, and she probably had a lot of lubrication, and so the hymen were not robust and tough as they are in some. And so these 20% who the first time of their sexual intercourse never had any pain meant that they were the type of women whose hymens were not very robust and difficult, or uh, the grooms did a lot of foreplay for a very long time to lubricate her whole vagina till he was able to penetrate, and the hymen did not become an obstacle to bring pain. So there are several reasons that could account for this, and 30% say relatively they had very, very severe pain. And it could happen. It could happen. The human body is fearfully and wonderfully made. And that is why no two human beings will have the same fingerprints. We are intricately made by God as individuals. And so you may have an opportunity to be able to uh, uh, have not have any pain at all, or you could have severe pain. And these are 30% of the virgins say that. And invariably, if this happens, then it means they were not aware that they could stretch their hymen before their first sexual encounter. They probably did not know. So, an examination of the pelvis should be performed about 6 weeks before marriage. Precisely tailored instructions from a doctor who is interested and thoughtful will relieve much of her anxiety over physical pain. So, the prospective bride may wish to have the hymen stretched if the tissue is thick or tight during the pelvic examination. So there will be less difficult and discomfort during the first intercourse. So the thing is this: it's clear from this study today that look, uh, there is the need for every girl to do a physical with the doctor, especially after 6 months, and especially young adults who are almost about to hit their 30s, and uh, they are wondering what is happening here. Uh, uh, they may be wondering why they feel such severe pain in their first sexual encounter. Um, but this, whether they would have difficulty in sexual intercourse after marriage, can be detected by the physician who does this examining of the whole physical anatomy and physical health of the girl. And I think that most pastors uh, are beginning to require this physical examination of the bride before marriage. And it is precisely tailored instructions from a doctor who is interested and thoughtful will relieve such anxieties. Now, the prospective bride may wish to have the hymen stretch if the tissue is thick during the pelvic examination, so there will be less difficulty and discomfort during the first intercourse. So, as we require the candidates counseling to have a physical examined by the family doctor or whoever the doctor is, as part of this examination, the doctor is supposed to look at the vaginal area and to see what type of hymen she has. When that examination is done accurately and it's reported to her that she has a thick hymen, then she will have the opportunity to start working towards stretching it so she doesn't get into pain when the D-Day comes. This is very, very important. It's crucial. And so the examination should not be left out. Let them. I once told a story of how these guys were crazy and they tattooed bazaar things on her breast, and because there was no examination of a physician before the marriage, she covered up all these things till the wedding night when things exploded, when the husband wanted to see her full nakedness, including her breasts. And so this physical examination is very important. It should be part of the counseling of young couple who are ready to marry. Now, if you as a doctor, you may be a gynecologist or not, but if you examine the vaginal area and realize that this candidate or this client has a thick hair hymen, uh, so if he or she is a family doctor and not somebody who just walked in, you may not want to disclose that immediately to her since there's still 6 weeks towards the wedding or 6 months towards the wedding. It is important that you look for solutions and do the right stretching so that you would be able to have a pleasant honeymoon night after the wedding. So here, the atmosphere, the prospective bride may wish to have the hymen stretched if the status is trick or tight during tweak or tight during the pelvis examination, so there will be less difficult and discomfort during the first intercourse. So, as directed by her physician, she may exercise her fingers on the hymen or ask her husband to stretch it carefully on their wedding night before intercourse. Now, to ensure that the first sexual experience with her husband is enjoyable and painless, I recommend that uh, I recommend that the prospective bride spend a few minutes each night for 2 to 4 weeks before the wedding. So this is uh, this is powerful. All what this is saying is that look, the hymen is there, and it could be thick and robust, but it, it is possible to make to stretch it so it will dilate at the time of uh, your sexual intercourse. It is important to do this stretching. Now, it is said that the woman, 3 days to the wedding, can take time to do this. And there are detailed instructions about this. With a small opening in the vaginal area before the hymen, the lady, if she wants to stretch this hymen herself so she can enjoy her sexual intercourse with her husband when they get married, then she has to put one finger, at least 2 fingers, into the area of the vaginal opening that is available and not covered by the hymen, and gently press that hymen down. Continue pressing it down gently till you are able to land it uh, uh, on the you are able to land it right on the or, or on the bottom of the vaginal floor. Now, you need to do that 3 or 5 times. Just press it gently, slowly but gently down before you continue to do that. So it says that this is what uh, now insert one finger all the way down to the bar, to the base of the vagina. Try placing two well lubricated fingers into the vagina and press slowly downward and back up in a firm manner. So you lubricate your two fingers fairly well, and then you insert it in the 1 inch space that is not occupied by the hymen, and then stretch it up, press it down and up, down and up. Uh, that way, you are stretching the hymen and making it give way for easy penetration of your husband's penis uh, on the day of after of the wedding or your honeymoon. So this can be done. I do encourage the girls that are counsel, if they are virgins, to do this themselves with the permission of their husbands, definitely prospective husbands, before the wedding day. And the reason why I recommend, I would usually recommend that in front of the boy, so the boy would know that, look, if I I know she is a virgin, so and so if she does the stretching 3 days before the honeymoon, and he's able to, on the honeymoon night, he's able to penetrate her easily, then he doesn't think that she lied, that she was a virgin, because he didn't struggle to penetrate her. And that myth of having to see blood before to confirm that it's a virgin would just be taken care of during the time of the counseling. And so this is very important, because, and the reason why I will again recommend that the girl does that before the honeymoon night is because, to be honest with you, the man may not have the patience to uh, be doing this, stretching the hymen on the night when he wants action. So, uh, however, if the man can discipline himself, it'll be a good exercise for the first time to help your woman. It'll be a memorable thing if he can take the responsibility, take charge to do that. And so the recommendation for the husband, when the husband is trying to stretch the vaginal openings on the wedding night, he should file his fingernails. It's very important. If the man, or even you, the girl, if you want to do this, you need to file your fingernails. You need to cut your fingernails smoothly. And for men, listen to this, men. If you want to be able to have access to your wife's vagina in the area of your fingers, being able to play around there, you always, 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 always need to file your fingers and clean them, wash them clean before you can do that, because they are very sensitive area. The little scratch will cause her so much pain if you have fingernails. So as a man, if your wife is comfortable with you playing and caressing her with your fingers inside her vagina, it is important you keep your fingernails clean, file up and clean. Wash it and wash it before you have sexual intercourse. If she's comfortable allowing you put your fingers, or if she decides that you should be the one to stretch her hymen, you need to do that. So that's the first thing. When the husband is trying to stretch the vaginal opening on the wedding night, he should file his fingers. Hence, they are very smooth and short, and then insert 3 fingers into the vaginal opening with their tips wedged, like say you wedged them. The tip is wedged, and then that's why they are very smooth and short. And then insert 3 fingers into the vaginal opening with their tip wedged shaped and lubricated with artificial lubricants. So, you, the man, if you have the pleasure of stretching your wife's hymen, then it is important that you follow the instructions that is given to you by your physician, your gynecologist, whoever the doctor is. If not, the simple instruction that is given here is wash your hands, cut your nails, and then lubricate your fingers very well before you can insert. Now, remember, there's always, even in the midst of the hymen covering the vaginal opening, there is a 1-inch space, and that is the area your 3 fingers should aim for. Now, if it's the opening is remember, you are not forcing your fingers into her fully. What you are doing now is the up and down pressing of the hymen to move it out of the way, get it dilated, so eventually you can penetrate easily with your penis. Now, so you want to be gentle and careful with this. Do that. And the hymen, so it says that be firm but very slow, towards the back press towards the back. To stretch the hymen fully, you should spend 15 to 30 minutes. So this is why I'm saying that unless you are a man, you are really disciplined, because on the honeymoon night, your goal is to penetrate as quickly as possible. So it might not be very suitable when you, because believe me, if it's your first time and you have the privilege of uh, pressing and stretching this hymen with your fingers, believe me, you are going to feel the sensation. You are going to feel the sensation. And the temptation to stop and think that, oh, there's enough room, honey, I think I should be able to penetrate. Because why? At this time, you are blown off by everything that is happening, and it's going to be difficult to discipline yourself to keep doing the stretching for a period of 15 to 30 minutes. That is why I usually will encourage the bride to be to do this 3 days before the honeymoon. She should do it herself with the permission, and I would discuss this with them as they are sitting in front of me. If she, after I get the report from the physician, and the physician confirms that she's actually a virgin and she has a difficult and a robust hymen, then I will recommend this to them. The girl, 3 to 5 days before the honeymoon, should do this daily for at least 5 minutes. If she does that for 3 days, 5 minutes, for 3 days, up and down, by the time the honeymoon night is up, that hymen would have been stretched well enough. And then the man doesn't have to do it 15 minutes when he's burning. He literally, immediately, believe me, immediately your finger touches the opening in her vagina, you, the man, you are going to feel the sensation even through your fingers and your penis. And so if you are not super disciplined, you would want to penetrate right there and then. And this hymen might not have been adequately stretched. So I always advise the virgins to do it themselves 5 days prior to the wedding. Stretch the hymen yourself, so you would not have to give the man 15 minutes, 30 minutes of torture. Literally. So then you can insert your three fingers into the base by moving them just eighteenth of the 18th of an inch at a time, the 18th of an inch at a time. So as you stretch it, you push it a little deeper inside, an 18th of an inch. How can you, a man, at that hot time, calculate 18th of an inch and do this within 30 minutes? It's just going to be highly impossible. So that is why the young lady should take time and do this before the honeymoon night. So this procedure will result in larger vaginal opening. Some tears may occur as well. Bleeding is to be expected in small areas. Do not panic if there is bleeding. Instead, try to find the exact spot where the bleeding has started. Place the tissue there with a firm pressure and hold it there. You will be able to stop the bleeding while you are having intercourse. In another tear, if another tear and more bleeding occurs, apply firm pressure to the exact spot to stop them. Now, it may be best left in place for about 12 hours before soaking loose in warm water to prevent new bleeding. After that, you can resume sexual activity. So, in cases where this hymen is very notorious and robust, you should expect some amount of bleeding to occur, but it can easily be stopped by just putting a tissue and some pressure and pressuring it for some time before. But even the bleeding should not prevent you from enjoying each other. Uh, it is important that uh, you understand that if this little bleeding comes, uh, that is the day that the man is probably stretching it. Don't panic. It is natural. It will stop eventually to enable you return to be able to enjoy yourself in the act of sexual intercourse without any problems. So this is good knowledge for especially young couple. And if you are the man and you are honored to take the virginity of a woman, it must be a privilege, and you should do it respectfully and do it in a very memorable way so the woman will have a good impression of sexual intercourse. Because remember, first impression counts. If you mess this up, her whole sex life could be traumatized, and she would just hate when the issue of sex comes to mind. It'll just be so tormenting for her because you didn't take time as a gentleman to bring her to this point where she would just feel uh, the queen that she is, or the princess that she is. You've done it with honor. You are all able to enjoy each other. So I encourage young men, please, if you are privileged and honored to have the opportunity of being the first to break the virginity of your bride, take it seriously with all intents and purpose, and be gentle towards her and let her feel honored, so she will have a memorable remembrance of this first day, and you will enjoy sex for the rest of your life because that first day was very memorable. Now, you need to remember this. You need to work at this almost every day to be able to have a pleasant sexual experience. Don't just leave it to chance. Work towards it. Talk to each other. Show each other the places that stimulates you the most. And I tell you, if there's a clear understanding and every aspect of the marriage is healthy, this aspect of it will be fantastic. It will be fabulous. Because remember, sex begins in the mind of the woman, their emotions. As for us men, once we spot certain parts of the woman's body, we are ready. We are ready. We can be angry with her 30 minutes ago, 2 minutes ago. Once our eyes spot certain parts of the female body, we are ready. Nothing would move us. Remember, your woman, that's not the way it works to them. You have to emotionally bring them up to par because everything happens in the brain. You are visual. They have to calculate. So you need to make the marriage be healthy. When the marriage is healthy, all other parts of the marriage is healthy, then the sexual act will be fantastic. Thank you for taking time to listen to today's devotional podcast. I encourage you, please understand this. Once you have Jesus, you have preserved your life and honored Jesus with your bodies up to this point, even if there's an issue, you can talk to Jesus about that. He is able to fix it, and he's able to make you enjoy each other because you honored him by keeping yourself pure till this time. So there's nothing wrong talking to Jesus about that, even telling him about the initial, hey, you're going to have the opportunity to take this bride who has kept herself for you. Jesus, I thank you for this opportunity, and I pray that you give us a pleasant experience even in my first act of sexual intercourse. Hey, Jesus says talk to him about everything, especially he is interested to hear about your sex life. Come on, I'm telling you. Hey, don't tell me this is blasphemous. Then you don't believe scripture. You don't believe that he created sex. Okay? Talk to Jesus about that, and he will make the day a memorable one for you. After all, you've honored him with your bodies. You were married to him till the day the priest pronounced you married, and Jesus handed you over to him. So, what is the problem telling Jesus about how you want your first sexual intercourse to be exciting and fabulous? Invite him into it, and you will see a huge difference. If he knows the number of hair on your head, why do you think that he will not be interested in how you utilize these intricate organs of yours that he has created for maximum pleasure? Thank you for listening to today's devotional podcast. And I want to pray with you. Look, if you have gained this knowledge and in any way you don't know Jesus and you want to invite Jesus into your life, that he would heal this aspect of your life. If you have been bruised in time past in this area of your life and you want healing, you can still invite him. Talk to Jesus. Say, my Lord and Savior Jesus, I thank you for your word. Come into my heart. Fix my life. This trauma that I went through, when somebody forcefully went through me, I commit it into your hands. Cleanse me off with your blood and take away all these bad memories about this sexual intercourse thing and help me to enjoy this that you have created for my pleasure. I thank you for this for tonight. Wash me and cleanse me and make me a brand new person. And thank you for my bride. Thank you for my groom. In Jesus' precious name I pray. Amen. Hey, beloved, thank you for listening to this podcast once again. I encourage you, if you are listening to this on YouTube, look at the right-hand corner, click on it, and subscribe. So anytime we upload a video, you get an alert. It doesn't take money, nothing. All you need is an email address. And I encourage you, if you live in the Spotsylvania, Fredericksburg area, I invite you to our church, Revolve Life Church. We have a 9 a.m. and an 11 a.m. Sunday services, and we meet every Wednesday for prayers. Come visit us. Come say hello to me. For those of you who have been sending Facebook inbox messages, asking questions, continue to do that. You can also ask and pass comments on YouTube. You can do that as well. And as much as possible, as much as I can schedule time, it doesn't matter which part of the world you are in, we can talk through Facebook inbox or even through WhatsApp phone call. So thank you for taking time to listen to today's devotional podcast, and God bless.